I, 54 male, have been married to my soon-to-be ex-wife, 49 female, for the last 25 years. Let's call her Cersei. Made-up name. She's as cruel as her, if not more. I built a family with her, raised 3 kids, all grown up and living on their own. After the youngest son moved out for college last year, our financial burden reduced. I thought we'd reach the stage where things moved back to the pre-kid era, stress-free, freedom, maybe even a little happier. And we were. Leading a happy social life, hosting friends, and going out whenever we wanted. Sadly, my dream life was not forever, and last week it came shattering down. We were at a friend's birthday party in his new vacation home. It was a big one, close to 25 people. Everyone was enjoying and having a good time. I had a few drinks, was a little tipsy, and then I noticed Cersei wasn't around. At first I brushed it off. Maybe she was in the restroom or stepped out to take a call or fresh air. The place was getting stuffy with the crowd. I got back to talking with my buddies. 10 minutes went by and still no sign of her. I called but no response. I asked people around if anyone had seen her. One of my friend's wives said she saw her talking on the phone at the front porch. It didn't sit well. Her call must have ended by now because it was ringing when I called. She should have come back. Panic hit me. Was worried. What if she fainted? What if something happened? I was unsteady because of the alcohol. Still walked out to look for her. She was nowhere near the house or front porch. I went out in the driveway. Still no sign of her. Then I walked towards the backyard and saw her with a man in the dark corner. Even though my vision was blurred, I could clearly see he was leaning against her, holding her hand in a way of not letting her go. It seemed they were arguing about something. I couldn't help but run towards her and scream, "What the hell is happening here?" My first thought was that she was in trouble, that this guy was harassing her. I expected her to cling to me, relieved that I'd shown up. Instead, she turned on me. If I had stopped and looked closely, I should have understood that she was comfortable and didn't try to free herself. She was trying to protect him and grabbed my arm like she was dragging me away from some misunderstanding. It was like, "Let's go from here." My head was spinning. Before I could even process what was happening, the guy lunged at me and punched me straight to the ground. Everything went black. The next thing I knew, I was in an ambulance on my way to the ER. Later, I learned that after I hit the floor, he tried to go after me again. But luckily, 2 of my friends from the party came out at the right moment, pulled him off of me, beat him up, and called the cops on him. He ended up being charged with assaulting me unprovoked and trespassing on the residential property. My nose bled profusely and needed stitches. I spent the night in the hospital being monitored for concussion. My face was swollen, vision was blurred, and when I finally came around properly, Cersei was right there beside me. But all I could feel was this growing disgust. I asked her straight up what had happened and who that guy was. Her version? "I just stepped out for fresh air. The guy came out of nowhere and asked for my number. I refused, and he got aggressive. That's when you showed up." Though my head was pounding, I wasn't stupid enough to believe her story. God dang. She was standing so close to him. If a stranger just pops up in someone's backyard, you scream and run, and not stand to confront. She was not resisting, but entertaining him. I realized if I pushed too hard right then, I'd only alert her to my suspicions. She would get careful, and I would not be able to get to the truth. So I just bit my tongue and played along and asked, "Did you at least file harassment charges against him?" She fumbled, "No, I don't have evidence. He's already charged with assault anyway. We're covered." It solidified my suspicions. After I got discharged, I decided to start planning my move. First thing I did was to book a lawyer's appointment. It takes time to get into their slot. I even paid extra to get ahead of the queue. Meanwhile, I began gathering evidence. We've always known each other's phone passwords. I never thought I'd need to snoop, but now I was left with no choice. I started looking for opportunities where she would have leave her phone unattended, and on the second day after the discharge, I got one. At first, I didn't find anything. That was almost worse. Felt like I had hit a dead end. Then I checked the archive chats, and there it was, the whole truth. He wasn't some trespasser. She had been having an affair with the man for months. I sat there scrolling with trembling hands, screenshotting everything. The messages showed that just a few days before the party, she tried to break things off with him, and that's why he cornered her that night. He was almost begging her to continue their affair, pleading and even threatening her. He told her if she didn't agree, he'd expose her. He even had the nerve to demand breakup sex before letting her go. That night, he was stalking us all the way from our house to my friend's place, constantly texting her to come out and talk like a toxic teenage lover. He wanted her to sneak out of the party and have fun in his car. He sounded such like a psychopath. That wasn't the end. Even after the incident, after he was released on bail, he texted her, was chuckling, "Knocked him down with a punch," to which she reacted with a smiley. He was insisting she meet while I was in the hospital. She pleaded with him to stay low for a few days until I recovered. She said, "I promised the ride would be worth the wait." I couldn't believe what I was reading. She was planning on effing him again even after he knocked me down. The betrayal was pathetic, but I didn't let my emotions take over. I stayed calm and gathered everything. Screenshotted all the conversations, backed them up in multiple places, even printed them out to keep offline. Piece by piece, I built my case. By the time my appointment with the lawyer came around, I had a mountain of evidence already. I handed it over and we began preparing the paperwork for divorce. She doesn't know yet. She'll be served in another week or so. In the meantime, I've been planning my exit strategy. I've read plenty of stories online about people who ghost their cheating spouses. I'll admit it's tempting to vanish in thin air. I want her to wake up one day and realize everything she took for granted is gone. But here's the catch. We have children. Our youngest is in college. Even if I ghost her now, I eventually would have to face her for the sake of the kids. So what's the point? Isn't it better that I just confront her and close this? Any pro tip or suggestion on the best way forward? Update 1. Plan set. My lawyer made one point that finally sealed it for me. If a fair partner could punch me unprovoked, he's definitely having ego and anger issues. He's perfectly capable of doing something worse if I publicly destroy his life, which I very well plan to do. So I decided to do it the careful way. Gather every scrap of evidence, get myself out clean, and then pull the trigger from a distance. Ghosting is the best plan. And until my paper arrived, I continued to snoop on her phone. She had met a fair partner twice during this time. They were elaborate details of their desires that I can't even read without throwing up. This man is a jerk. He's in his late 30s, married, and had twins just a few months back. The way he was talking about his wife's body was absolutely trash. Said the fat sticking out from her belly was disgusting and she couldn't even have sex properly. He remained unsatisfied from her. What a jerk of a man to body shame his wife who had just had a twins. He begged Cersei to sleep with him, saying he cannot control his urge. He sounded as if he was intoxicated by her body, was ready to do anything to F her. Said she was more gorgeous even at 50 than his wife in her 30s. He was passionate and wild, and that's what she liked about him. It was evident that Cersei wasn't serious about the breakup. If she were, she would have broken up. She wasn't 16 years old to be blackmailed by him. She could have exposed him too, but she chose to stay. Looked like she kept him on the edge by talking about the breakup and made him chase her. Maybe some kind of kink between them. I dug out everything and traced his life, his address, where he worked, his wife's name, and even his parents' address for my later plan. I also nipped into the chat she was having with her best friend, Maria, name changed. I knew she's most truthful to her. If she was serious about breaking up with a fair partner, she would have discussed it with Maria. Not that it would change my mind, still I wanted to know. I discovered another secret in there. Came up that Maria was also cheating on her husband. Both were helping each other cover up the lies. Cersei would often stay late and say she was with Maria. I have known her for years, hence never doubted. I'm sure she was also lying to her husband using Cersei's name. I printed copies, put extra on USB drives, and packed them into 2 separate envelopes, one for the affair partner's wife and one for Maria's husband. I had met that guy a few times, and it would be wrong if I didn't tell him the truth. I kept aside the chats where both these cheating women were talking about fooling their husbands. At the same time, I built my case and locking my life down. Changed all account passwords, removed her cards from my accounts, removed her access from my cards. Gave an application to the bank to change the joint credit cards to a single user. Took another number and updated it in all places. My friend's rental is going to open up in a few weeks. I locked the deal. My lawyer told me to get my ducks in a row, and I did. The papers have come in, but I'm waiting for the weekend. She and Maria announced a girls' weekend shopping trip to the next town. We'll update after I execute the plan. Update 2. Here's what happened next. After she and Maria left for the shopping spree, I booked movers for mid-morning, but as Murphy's Law would have it, they were 2 hours late. It actually worked to my advantage. By the time they showed, most of my heavy stuff was already in boxes I'd packed slowly over the last few days. I wasn't going to leave anything important behind. I also cut my wedding band with a hacksaw the morning I left. It felt petty and satisfying at the same time. I placed the 2 halves on top of the divorce papers and a photocopy of the evidence envelope and left them on the kitchen counter, face up. Then I called all my 3 kids and asked them to meet me. Asked them to be and not inform their mother about anything before talking to me. They were scared and thought either of us were dying. Two came over, the youngest FaceTimed from college. That was the hardest part. I informed them that I was divorcing their mother. They asked the reason. I said your mother is not happy with me and I can't stay in the marriage where there is no love and respect. Check with her in detail when she gets back home. They got the whiff, and my daughter asked if Cersei had cheated. After a lot of contemplation, I told them the truth without gory details. I found evidence. I'm leaving. They are mature enough to handle it. If I hadn't told them, chances are Cersei could manipulate the truth to her advantage. I read so many posts where cheating spouses used their mother card to manipulate the children. I can't let that slide. There were tears, then anger, then lots of questions. I didn't have answers for, are you sure? Can you work on it? Do you still love her? They were disgusted and furious. I said despite everything, she's their mother and was a good one in that job, so they should continue to respect her for that. The elder one offered to stay with me, but I declined. I need space. They asked where I was going. I said I cannot tell you now because I don't want your mother to know this. They promised they won't tell her, but I didn't want to put them through this, where they would have to lie to their mother. It was my problem and I would deal with it. They need not be dragged in between. When she asked them if they know about me, they wouldn't have to lie. We cried and hugged and sat for a long time. I left them with the contact information for my friend in case they needed anything. I informed them that my number would be unreachable. They were sad, furious, and ultimately supportive. That, more than anything, relieved me. After they left, I arranged for 2 courier drops. I used a reputable messenger service and insisted on a signed receipt for both, affair partner's wife and Maria's husband. The courier handed each package directly to the intended recipient at their workplace and got signatures. I watched the confirmation text come through on my burner email. The affair partner's wife opened her package within an hour and sent back a single line thank you later that evening. I didn't reply. Meanwhile, I had checked into a hotel. Friend's property would need a week more to get cleaned. I turned my phone off for most of the night and slept like a baby. When I checked it briefly the next morning, there were dozens of missed calls and a flood of texts from Cersei. Where are you? Please call me. And a few from the affair partner, which I screenshotted and saved them without reading fully. He was swearing to destroy my life as if he hadn't already. Maria's husband had also called, dropped a voicemail asking to meet me. I agreed to go for brunch. He thanked me for telling him, said he had suspected nothing. I told him what I could, left out nothing that mattered. He promised not to react rashly, and from the tone in his voice, I believed him. He asked me about my plan. I said I'm ghosting her, but suggested he look for an exit option that suited him because his youngest daughter is still in high school, and ghosting might not work for him. I advised him to lawyer as the first thing. He was absolutely devastated and speechless. I could see he was disoriented. That's what betrayal does to people. He said he would post the evidence on social media and let everyone know who she really is. I warned him against it, not before seeking legal advice, because my lawyer advised me to let the legal process run its course and to avoid posting anything online. Reputation is messy and returns more trouble than satisfaction. I was also tempted to catalog every dirty detail on social media. I won't, at least not now. For the time being, ghosting has worked exactly as intended. My previous number is off for most of the time. I occasionally switch in to see if any important things have come through, though I have updated my new number in all the official records. Next on the list, notify HR at the affair partner's workplace. Not to get him fired for moral reasons, but because if he escalates, the workplace needs to know there's potential for trouble. Also, meet with my lawyer again to finalize the service paperwork and the small, boring things lawyers like to sweat, bank accounts, titles, and the like. I know ghosting cannot be permanent. Eventually I'll have to face her. There will be uncomfortable dinners. My eldest daughter is engaged and are planning for a wedding in a couple of years, so there's no way I can escape seeing cheating wife's face, but that's the problem for later. Today, I'm satisfied that I was able to avenge the betrayal the way I wanted. For now, the plan is to stay where I am, keep my head down, and let the dominoes fall. Thank you for all the advice in the last thread. I'll probably post another update once the legal process is done and the dust settles a bit. Update 3. Sorry for the late update. I know a lot of you have been asking for this. My lawyer has instructed not to let out any details of the divorce before it's done, so I was holding my horse. After the evidence reached the prospective people, the chain reaction began. Affair partner's wife kicked him out. Turns out she had more backbone than he ever expected. She confronted him with the evidence, and he tried to reason with her. They had a fight, and he ended up grabbing her by the arm hard enough to leave bruises. She immediately called neighbors, who called the cops on him. She pressed domestic violence charges against him. He spent a weekend in jail because no one was willing to bail him out. His parents had also received a copy of the chats where he was humiliating his wife. Ultimately, his friend bailed him out. Almost immediately, his father-in-law bound him outside the courthouse and chased him down the street and beat him black and blue. They took pictures of his bruised face and black eye and circulated in their social circle. His wife sent it to me with the details, thanking me again. A few nights later, he came looking for me, still with the visible bruise. He figured I was the reason his life turned to ash. He didn't find me, but he did find Cersei in the house. I still had access to the door camera feed, and I watched it unfold in real time. He banged on the door like a lunatic. When she opened it, he lunged his hands around her throat. I couldn't hear much through the video feed, just muffled screams and chaos. A few minutes later, he stumbled out, misheveled and red-faced, got into his car, and sped off. Cersei came out afterward looking shaken, scanning the street like she couldn't believe what just happened. I didn't feel bad for her, that none of this was mine to deal with anymore. Maybe she deserved the treatment. She wasn't meant for the love and respect she got from our marriage. Almost at the same time, she texted me with a long apology for betraying. I saw it later when I opened that number. Her sorry didn't matter anymore. Meanwhile, Maria's husband followed through and served her too. 2 broken homes, 2 women who thought they were untouchable, suddenly realizing they weren't. Cersei tried to use the kids as her way back to me. She told them she was worried sick, that she just wanted to talk. They didn't know where I was. My eldest said, "Dad took everything on himself to protect us. He deserves peace. Don't drag us into this." The other 2 also shut her out. When the divorce terms finally came through, she tried to fight for the house, saying it should stay with her as the family house, so the kids had somewhere to come back to. I could have fought for it, but I didn't. Let her have the walls and the roof. Alimony was off the table. The rest of the asset was divided 50-50. The irony is, I don't think she even knows how to live alone. That's her punishment. Maria cut her off after her own husband left. Affair partner is busy dealing with his crap. His wife is slamming him with one court case after another. To make herself feel better, she's posting old pictures of better times, pretending things are fine, but we both know the truth. I'm at my friend's rental, peaceful and quiet. My children have my new number now. The elder one often visits, and all 3 of them check on me regularly. That's what matters to me most. Affair partner literally sucker punched you at a party and then had the audacity to keep texting your wife like he was some kind of prize. It's wild how brainless and outlandish that is. A married man with newborn twins, body shaming his wife, stalking someone else's wife to party, punching her husband in front of witnesses, and then still thinking he's the victim? Honestly, not surprised. People like this never seem to think that they're the problem. And then your wife has the audacity to stick by him. 2 brain deads. They were truly made for each other. The kicker? It's telling when even the people closest to you, your kids, your friends, want nothing to do with you. Have you ever seen 2 people so spectacularly toxic that you can't help but think, somehow they were made for each other? Call them out in the comments below. And thank you for joining us today on Our Space. Be sure to like and subscribe and hit that notification bell so you don't miss out on our next video. Until next time.